In a period of 2 hours, I have started, learned, launched, figure out from some of the best people this system that could potentially make the company far more money than it's making now.
Oh man, dude, that's awesome. All right, how's it going, man?
Bro, you look a little tan, brother. What you been doing?
Getting some of that vitamin D lately.
Are you having fun?
Yeah.
What have you been working on, dude?
Getting sunburn? Dude.
Yeah.
What have I been working on?
Yeah.
A lot of things, a lot of little things. I'm kind of liking the idea of being more efficient in all areas of my life, not just work. So, okay, we just made an investment. We were this close to hiring a house cleaner, like this close.
Sick.
And we went on this kick of researching robot vacuums. And so we've just dropped $4,000 on 2 vacuums.
Bro.
Yeah, serious investment.
What are you doing? All right, go on. Do I need one?
Maybe. So I did the math. Let's see if I still remember it, how I was breaking it down yesterday. So I'm going to assume if I hired a house cleaner, they would spend approximately 45 minutes a day vacuuming my house, top to bottom. So I have 2 German Shepherd dogs. Dude, they shed like crazy. And I always realize, like in conversations with Kristen, we notice that when we clean the floors, that whole house feels clean just because there's shed hair everywhere. And so that's like 90% of what we see, throughout the week, and it annoys us. So we figured if we deep clean the floors, top and bottom, it'd take about 45 minutes. Okay, so 45 minutes a day over 7 days is roughly 5 hours. Okay?
Damn.
So then you go 5 hours and you expand that over in a year, right?
Yeah.
Dude, we're talking like 150 hours. Is that right?
Yep.
5 times.
I mean, okay, I'm with you. Yeah,
20
5 a week.
times.
5 times 5 is 250. But
Yeah, we're right
go
there.
On.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm remembering. And so I was like, okay, so that's essentially 7 days nonstop of vacuuming. That's how I broke it down in my head. And so my return on investment, I don't know, how much is an average house cleaner? They come in, vacuum, and maybe just do some other miscellaneous stuff.
It's $30 an hour.
30 an hour?
Yeah.
So on a monthly basis, I know you have cleaning figured out. What are you paying out about on a monthly basis?
Call it $1,500 a month.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you might want to look into one of these, dude.
It doesn't have to be that much, but yeah.
Yeah. No, they probably do a lot of other stuff for you, but so we broke it down that way, and I said I'm never vacuuming again. So we made the investment.
Okay, well, dude, tell me what vacuum you spent 4 G's on. That's what I want to know.
Okay, so we went the bougie route. We bought 2 vacuums. They're both about $1,700 a piece. So we got the Robo Rock.
All right, let me look it up. Robo Rock. This will be
I believe it's the Max V Ultra 8. I think I said that right.
All right, we got the Robo Rock.
Yeah.
Max V8, like a
V
V8
Ultra.
Hemi?
Yeah, it's the Max V. Yeah, S8 Max V Ultra. Nope, not the Pro. This one's above that.
Okay.
There we go.
Here it is. Is this it? Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah.
This thing sounds like a rocket ship, dude. Send you to Mars
amazing.
at the same time. Oh my God. Look at this. Okay.
It's sexy, bro. It not only vacuums, but it mops as well.
Your vacuum cleaner has fucking AI, bro.
It does.
Dude,
it's epic.
Oh my God, bro! I'm gonna text your wife and tell her that you guys are off your rockers.
Dude,
I'll say this is not. Oh, look at it! It's got a flexi arm design for edges. It can get.
Yeah.
Oh, bro! Circle can now fit in square holes. Look at that,
bro. It has voice commands. I can talk to it.
Oh my God. Okay.
Its name is Rocky.
Yeah, that's good.
My favorite prompt is it gives you a list of prompts, things you can have it do. One of them is you say, "Hey Rocky, mop harder," and it'll go and remop.
Rocky, you're not good enough.
I swear.
Rocky, they just came out with a S9 Max V. Better pick it up, dude.
Get it together.
Yo, bro, it says there's an app. Can I have access to your app as well for no other reason than I want it?
Actually, you could.
Bro,
Hold on.
Kristen and I could wake up in the middle of the night when it's like 3 a.m. for you, and we could just start fucking with your vacuum.
Yeah, summon the vacuum.
Yeah.
Dude. My favorite feature on this is my favorite feature is find my pet.
Okay. What does it do?
It'll literally back out of the dock. It'll circle around. It has a camera on board. So this is the part, like, I legitimately could give you access, and you can drive this fucker around my house. It's so good.
Dude, I just want to imagine the conference room of the Robo Rocker team, and they're just like, all right, what else do we need on this vacuum? And some guy's just like, dude, I want to be able to spy on my wife. and they're just like, done.
Done. They're like, we got you, pet finder mode.
Yeah, we'll give it a nice name.
It's so good.
Oh, it mops too, huh?
Dude, that mop, look at how it pulses. It pulses 4,000 times a second.
Wow. Bro, I'm getting a little amped about this thing.
Dude, yeah. Talk about autonomous. Rocky, mop harder. That's all you got to say. And
dude,
so they make it so it's truly self-sufficient. There's I don't know if you just like the next package that comes with this, but you can get it where the unit, it docks, it ties into your plumbing. So it'll empty the water and refill it with water. So like you don't have to touch it.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm. So
I do love that. Love that.
And like at my office, so I got like a big open concept office space. We pay like $400 a month for a cleaning company to come through, mop the floors and whatever. I'm about to just buy one of these for my office.
Yeah, dude, this is
really all I need.
I mean, I disagree, but it's still nice to have.
It's probably not all.
I think bro, it is the shiniest object. When people say quit buying shiny objects, dude, this is the stuff they're talking about. But I'll tell you, dude, this thing's so shiny, it's dull and it looks like I need it, you know?
Bro, it's so good. And like yeah, so we got one for upstairs because we thought about it. We're like, okay, we have a couple different levels. Like my main floor has a step down to come into a living room, so it won't go in that area. So I'm like, I have 4 spaces in my house like that. My main living space, upstairs, bedrooms and stuff are all on one plane, but my actual bedroom itself in the back living room, there's a step down. So I almost went and bought 2 more. So I never have to touch them again.
You don't need 2. So you bought 2 of these things, dude?
Yeah, upstairs and downstairs. I didn't want to have to lug it. I didn't want to have to take it upstairs.
Bro, why not just start with 1? Why go all out?
Dude, all or nothing.
Dude, you really are an all or nothing kind of guy, bro.
So, okay, this is my thought on this, and this is my last point to this, I think, maybe. We were going to hire a house cleaner to come in, and their job, all right, this is kind of the rabbit hole I'm going down of making my house, like, autonomous. I want to get a house cleaner to come in to empty the Roborock, because I don't want to touch it. So while the vacuuming's done, it gets emptied out. I want them to take my trash out and do those things, right? And then clean my bedding and do some laundry. And so, you know, okay, how do I make it more autonomous? How do I make it more where I don't have to do anything? So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to hire a virtual assistant to be my house manager. Yep. She's going to coordinate the house cleaner to manage my Roborock. And so I don't touch it. I just tell the virtual assistant on a spreadsheet, hey, reach out, you know, and then they're going to manage my house cleaner. Yep.
Bro.
I'm telling you, I've gone deep. So that's what I've been working on lately.
Yeah, dude. You ever heard of like the saying, like, don't take it too far?
Never. Enlighten
Yeah,
me.
I didn't think so. Yeah, I didn't think so, dude. Bro, I got so many jokes right now. This reminds me of a bit, dude. We need to share it. I
Okay,
hired. He's a comedian. He's so good.
bro,
I'll
I
show
think
it
I'm
to
on something.
you, dude.
So good.
Okay, that I googled something and it didn't give me anything close to what I wanted. Maybe I'll show it later. But it was this comedian, dude. Once I tell you what I googled, you're gonna laugh. So this comedian had this bit where he goes, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Bill Gates. You think any of these guys are doing their chores, their day to day? No, they delegate. They know how to get the most out of every single day, the 24 hours. You know this bit?
No,
No. And
it sounds.
he goes, you think they cook their own food? No, they do that. You think they make their own bed? No, they've got someone to do that. He goes, I started thinking like them and I saw noticeable differences. I hired a guy. He comes in twice a week. He fucks my wife for me because time is money.
Yeah, so efficient.
So efficient, dude. Yeah, so I tried to Google that and it didn't give me the clip that I was
Yeah,
looking
fuck my
for.
wife.
Yeah.
Oh God,
Uh,
no.
It's
Okay,
good stuff, dude. It's good stuff. Yo, let me change topics here.
all right.
As much as I will say, actually, just a final topic about vacuums. I really went down a hole a long time ago about these. Bagged vacuums apparently are far superior at collecting dust than bagless because it forces the air through a finer HEPA filter. And what ends up happening is it can collect smaller bits of dust. And so if you really want like ultra pure allergen free air, you got to use bagged vacuums like the Hoover. And I think the best vacuums on the market are it's either Melee or Miele, Miele. They make appliances as well. And dude, I almost dropped $2,000 on a manual vacuum one day. And then I thought to myself, when's the last time I freaking vacuumed? And bro, I haven't vacuumed in years. And so I was like, all right, I don't need this. And I have open windows anyway. So it's like, bro, as soon as you filter out the air, new air's coming in. It doesn't even matter. And you're not going to filter the outside. Anyway, I digress.
I love that. That's awesome.
Yesterday, I had decided to start running Facebook ads for High Climb.
Nice.
And we've like kind of hit to the point we've really plateaued our membership at a solid base, and we haven't really grown. Or every week we add new members and we lose some new members, and it's a net break even. I was like, all right, we need more members, and so we hired this guy, and they were talking about connecting our point of sale system with our customer IO, our marketing engine, with our Facebook ad accounts, and making sure our website had all these pages and all this stuff. Then they talked about doing all these things and optimizing it. And I was like, well, that's great, but how long that's going to take? And they're like, well, 6 to 12 months. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, I don't want to wait that long. So I thought to myself, all right, well, how about I just start from somewhere, from zero, whether it's step one. And so for the last 3 years, I've literally been thinking to myself, I'd like to learn how to run Facebook ads. I'd like to learn this and blah, blah, blah. And so, dude, I would sometimes I'd putz around, I'd remember this goal, and then I would go to YouTube and I'd watch some YouTube videos about how to create Facebook ads. And nothing really ever clicked. Didn't really work for me. I just didn't put the time into it, truly. And then yesterday I just sat down. I was like, all right, well, how about I just set some up? And so I decided to spend $750 a month just to test it out, and then I'll optimize it later. And I chose the best 10 photos I could find. I wrote 10 different headlines that all probably sucked. And I started. And now I've got Facebook ads running, and we've had 14,000 impressions and however many page visits. Not that many, but enough.
Yeah.
And I just kind of thought, dude, I was like, for the last 3 years, I've been thinking about doing this one thing. And in about 90 minutes, I had pretty much accomplished that goal. And before, I have probably watched full on hour, 2-3 hours videos of running Facebook ads, but I still didn't know how to do it. And it wasn't until I actually did the thing that I consider myself, now I get it. And it's a lot easier than I expected. At least the meta ad platform's kind of confusing, but when you just Google it for a little bit, you figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, bro, how many things are like that where if you just do it and you stop Googling how to do it and you stop thinking about how to do it, you'll just get some progress. And so now I took it a step further. After I finished it, I felt a sense of satisfaction from my terrible performing ROAS, probably. But I thought to myself, okay, well, how do I get better at this? And so I went on Upwork.com and I just typed in Facebook ads, and there was 3 people that said that they were Facebook ad experts. And I was like, sick. Because there were some confusing things about our website pixel integration that I couldn't quite figure out, and it wasn't that big of a deal. And so I DM'd them and I was like, hey, can I hire you for a couple hours to teach me and go into my account with me and show me what things I should be looking for? And so this guy said, yeah, I'll basically charge you $50. And he's been doing this, like on Upwork, he made $1 million doing Facebook ads for people. And I was like, oh my God.
Wow.
And all it's going to take is 30 minutes and $50, $100 an hour. And you're just going to teach me the gist of what you know in 30 minutes for my specific purpose? I was like, dude, sign me up. So I've got a call with him tomorrow at 2:30. And in a period of 2 hours, I have started, learned, launched, and I don't want to say mastered, but started to really figure out from some of the best people this system that could potentially make the company far more money than it's making now. And it's just like, how many things are like that?
Oh man, dude, that's awesome. You know what? I run into the same stuff too, where for me, it's like when the pressure's on and I kind of just tell myself, enough trying to learn and research, let's just start doing it. Then it just becomes like second nature to like, okay, it's clunky at first. Oh, I figured out how to launch this. Oh, hey, it's running, it's active. And then you get some results and you're like, oh wow. And then the next step, optimizing. That's what I'm always missing, is just that extra little piece of just like reminding myself, hey, let's be a little more resourceful. Let me look into who the expert is. I mean, $50 for all that, whatever he's going to give you, that tailored information.
$100 an hour. It's like, okay, dude, thank you. I'll deal.
No brainer.
Bro.
No brainer. Yeah. And so, okay, what other areas are you applying this train of thought to?
Well, I have this, I got this referral for a client that wanted to buy this really nice house to this guy, and he's been really successful. And it was interesting. I was on the phone with him because he's trying to buy this $5-6 million house cash. And he did a big exit with one of his companies. And he said this line, dude, that just burned into my mind. And he said, I'll probably buy this house. And then I probably won't buy another one until I do my next exit. And so his budget was under 10 million cash. Okay. And he he said it so confidently. He said it like, almost like you're telling your wife, oh, we can't cook that banana bread. I've still got to get the bananas from the store later. I'll let you know. Let me make sure they have some in stock. He said, I probably won't buy another one until I do my next big exit. And I was just like, if you think about it, everything in business really is it's a skill to identify gaps in the market, to build a business around it, to know how to generate leads and marketing and all of this. And even in the last 2 years, I've started to learn a lot of skills I didn't have. I knew real estate specifically niche, and then I started to understand bookkeeping and accounting. And then I really felt like I got a good handle on sales and very niche pieces of the real estate game for lead gen. And now I'm starting to learn marketing in general. I'm starting to learn copywriting. I'm reading about that, digital marketing, landing pages, ROAS, Facebook ads, things like that. I'm learning all these things. And these are just further skills. And he's developed a skill where he knows, okay, I think he did, when I looked it up, potentially a $50 to $80 million exit to himself. So he did a pretty big fat exit. But to him, that's a skill. You go into a company, you build it, and then you exit. And that's something that he's done. He did, and then he learned it, and now he can duplicate it. And just like you and I have the skill of many skills of real estate, he has the skill of big multi-million-dollar exits, and there's no reason we can't learn that skill either.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like if I talk to somebody who works at a barista at Starbucks making $15, $20 an hour, their skill set allows them to earn $20 an hour. That's where they cap, at least in the field they're in. And our skill set, maybe we cap at $1 million in profit in a year, if it's a good year at least. So it's kind of like, what are the next things we need to continue to be learning to do this? Because I've realized the better I get, it's usually less about how much I can produce and more about how can I get the team around me to work on the right goal. And I've been thinking a lot about this idea, dude, which is you could do anything to grow a business. Bro, I could hire 50 people to stand out there spinning signs as fast as possible, and it's going to grow the business. Or I could run radio ads or anything else. And it's like, well, knowing that I can do one of 10,000 different things, which one's the best one? And then how do you even decide on that? And it's kind of crazy to think about.
Yeah. You can't do, you can do anything, but you can't do everything.
Right.
What are those few tasks? You know, and if you look at like how we've progressed in at least our adventures in business, and you see from being the boots on the ground to the strategizer to, you know, just getting things going where it's like I talked about my robots, like kind of autonomous in a way where you set it up and it gets running, you know what results it should perform with, and you evaluate and you move on to the next thing. And so breaking that down to business, just as simple as I thought, oh, I can clean my floors with a robot vacuum. Let me go get that. This guy's sitting here telling you, oh, well, I'm just going to go exit out of my next business so I can buy my next piece of property. It's like the path is so clear to him. But to have that level of clarity, I think it comes down to having confidence in yourself and making your decisions. I was thinking about this, and maybe this will add to this topic, but, you know, how do super successful business owners, not even just business owners, but investors, people at a high level, how do they carry themselves? How do they show up to work? How do they approach their, you know, employees? How do they interact with them? And, you know, I found myself early on wanting to kind of make it a party. I'm growing my business. I want everybody to have fun. I did this so I had freedom. I feel guilty if I'm enjoying the freedoms of getting my time back, that if I don't allow other people that work underneath me the same liberties, then I'm like I'm not a good boss, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, that's not how you run organizations. Like the leader has to be kind of a hard charger in a way. I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be like in your face, but there's characteristics about them that they're like steadfast, and they have a process and who they hang out with, why they hang out with them, the conversations they have in the day to day. And I feel like myself, what stops me from getting that next level is having that executive function to my style of managing the people underneath me. And like I noticed I've found myself in a position where I'm kind of being the nice guy in a way, where I'm letting people vent to me. Kind of being that like voice of reason. I'm kind of playing both sides of the field whenever it's like a touchy subject. But in reality, I don't know, maybe you have some insight on this. But when I look at somebody who is running a big organization, let's say making exits and all that, how are their personality types? And do you think that they're more or less like they carry themselves differently in those environments? Or are they just pretty much the same way all around with everything they do? I'm trying to find the sweet spot.
I mean, I do very much agree that the way you treat the people in your organization is so important. But knowing you, I don't think I would look less at the personal relationship I have with people and more so what is their output. Because I found with everybody in my organization, I have to treat them very differently to make them as effective as they can be. For example, like, let me think here. With my personal assistant, Christine, I definitely need to give her very clear targets and deadlines and expectations.
Right.
And there's a bit of English wasn't her first language, so it's a little bit different. With Nico, I also need to do that too. But with my team member Lexi, I don't need to give her deadlines because she's probably going to get it done before I would even ask her to. So if I give her a deadline, I notice it'll probably take longer.
Wow.
Whereas if I just give her the project, dude, she is a pusher and she goes fast on things. So I would look at more so if these are the projects that we're trying to accomplish in any given month, are we getting enough things done? And I approached, for example, like one of my my videographer, Nico, he has a tendency to spend a lot of time on one project and just like probably overproduce and over edit and over critique it. And because of that, we might only get a video or two done. Whereas if it was up to me, we'd probably get 5 or 6 high quality with just a little bit less. And so I definitely need to push him to say, okay, we're done on this edit. We need to move to the next. We're limiting gains here. But I think about what I've listened to Alex and Warren Buffett say this all the time, which is it's so much more important about the boat you're in than it is how hard you row or who you row with.
Mm-hmm.
And Warren has this example of a guy who he went to school with that was smarter than him and harder working than him. And he was working in the steel industry. And maybe this was the 60s through 90s, which was a slowing market.
Yeah.
Like the real estate market. And so this guy was smarter and harder working and he was far less successful. Versus, like, it's the same thing for real estate and high climb, dude. I put in probably 1,000th the amount of effort into high climb. Bigger risk, by the way. And
Sure.
that thing has earned 10x. And so on a scale, it's like that thing has probably done 1,000,000 times more income per second or minute worked.
Yeah.
Which is pretty crazy.
Really is. Yeah, I guess it is identifying, my thoughts are people like in our position that are aspiring to get to a point where we can get into organizations, buy up businesses, and turn them into something that's worth more than what we got into it for and sell it at an exit. It's more or less identifying, for me, we've had this conversation before, where what is the potential income I can earn if this was running at full capacity? And I like to think of it in 2 ways as it currently sits. And then what's the desired outcome in, a longer horizon, 12 months, 24 months, even further out. And then making that be the judge. And I like what you said here, don't necessarily focus on personalities and all of those other culture traits. Like that stuff's important. It'll work itself out, I feel like. But focus more on their output per position. And are we getting enough done? Like enough things done, right? And let that kind of be the judge there. And I think that would guide more internally in my role of managing my time more effectively instead of getting caught up in nuanced conversations that aren't relevant to the company necessarily.
Yeah, dude, I agree. Like, here, let me share this. So this is our Monday board, which is a fancy project management tool. So this is for the real estate company.
Yep.
And every person has, so this is Lexi, she's in charge of the marketing timeline. So every month, she basically has projects that need to get done. And some of them are smaller, like certain open house flyers, letters, buyer consultation packets. We do weekly emails to our database and then weekly recruiting focused emails. But then we also have some more important things, like we're working on conversion tracking for our PPC ads. Like some of these are high, like our conversion tracking support, really focusing on big projects. And so every month, every person has set projects, things that they need to accomplish that month. Mm-hmm. And they're responsible for their board. And so if we look at, and then every quarter, we look at what our quarterly, we have big rocks. And so for my marketing department, for her, it's to create a pay-per-click campaign, to hire somebody for a Facebook organic lead system to start posting on Facebook Marketplace. And then we're going to start rolling out webinars that our agents host. And so for the next 90 days, these are her like big 3 tasks. Mm-hmm. For David, our sales manager, we want to revamp our agent onboarding and roll out a new buyer consultation in the next month. So this is his big task. For Nico, we're rolling out high quality training for our YouTube channel for CMA every day and for agent training. And so we want to get 2 per week for him. for my EA / transaction manager, we couldn't, in our last meeting, this was last week, we couldn't decide on what the most effective long-term goal for her was, for 90-day goal. So we just said, okay, let's discuss it, to be determined. And then on a weekly basis, we'll just go through on our meetings and see what needs to be done and what we need to discuss. And so if we look at, for example, social media, let's see here. So we see, like, here's what we're working on for the month of July. Here's where everything is. Here was June. But then I noticed, like, April and May were really short. And so this was a conversation I had to have with my video guys. Like, hey, we got to be pumping out more content. We can't spend 100 hours making video edits that aren't going to get that many views anyway. Mm-hmm. And so we really focus on accountability in our culture. And then everybody knows what their job is. But I'll say we didn't start like this. This was, this is years in the making.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, that's good. That's good stuff. I mean, keeping your team organized is most important. And then you got your systems and processes in place, and you can make course corrections. No, that's...
Yeah. Yeah, and it's not easy. Like, I definitely go into these meetings. Sometimes I don't want to do it, but I'm just like, we have to, and it's in this calendar.
Yeah, it's these things we just set up for ourselves. It is so funny how I look at the reality of my life now compared to what my stressors were 5 years ago. Mm-hmm. And, just like a simple meeting with someone, I could just sometimes be like, oh, okay, let's do it. But I'm like thinking back to the other things I've done. I'm like, I would much rather do this.
Yeah.
And then, kind of do a little bit of like, all right, let's get into it. Let's get involved. One thing that's been helping me out a lot too with some of my meetings is I've just been focused on being more intentional and present when I show up to these things. And I think it translates. Like, that they can feel that, especially when the boss is there and kind of giving the orders for the week and just getting feedback and really trying to bring the team together. I've noticed that in weeks where, I'm kind of just showing up kind of last minute unprepared, I noticed that usually the next couple days following that, we always have a weird week. It's strange. Like, people are kind of slacking off on things, not really like addressing things that normally get caught. But then on the weeks where, I'm really bringing it and I'm like fully present, I notice that it's the opposite effect.
Yeah, dude, I feel that too. What's that saying you said to me? While the mice are away, the cats will play.
Exactly.
Something like that. Yeah, dude, it's true. Actually, that's a good reminder. I've decided that this coming week, we're going to get back to our morning huddle. So my whole team, we used to just meet every morning for 15 minutes just to go over what everybody was going to do. And then I went on a trip for 3 months, and then that just fell to the wayside.
Right.
And so now I've realized that's impacted productivity. So I have to get back onto the morning huddle, and that's part of Traction, which this book, fantastic, by the way. It's part of this. They talk about it, and it's back to basics, really.
Yeah, more of that. And, I think if anything, I remind myself that these are exercises that prepare me for the next level.
Yeah.
And to eventually get those blocks in place to where I could be in that position, shopping in Hawaii with, a hotshot real estate agent telling them, when I make my next exit, I'll buy my other $5 million house or whatever.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Well, I think the challenge, though, and we've talked about this a million times, is we're just in a very challenging industry compared to many others. And I don't like to make excuses, but now that I've achieved more success in another industry and what's going to feel like more success in a third industry, in a tenth of the time, I realize how difficult real estate is, dude. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ultra competitive, race to the bottom most times. Everybody's got the next shiny object. Agents go this way, that way. Right. It's either you stay in work and you're just that car salesman your whole life, or you grow up to own the dealership and now you got dealership problems, And so we've elevated ourselves to the dealership problems in a sense. And we're kind of realizing like, man, I could be doing this over here, and hanging out at a rock climbing gym. There's risk, there's blood, sweat, and tears. There's years in the making, but when you're focused and you stay on task and it comes to fruition, it's like, okay, that was worth it.
Yeah. Dude, I agree. I mean, media is the same way, where like I think now very differently about investments of time and money. Whereas, like, as we as broker owners, we invest our time into agents. There are assets that will go out and produce income for us. But what sucks is at any given time, that agent can up and leave. And
Yeah.
so, had we decided to invest that time into buying a property, that property, no matter what, will always be cash flowing for us if we made a good decision on it. And so it's like, well, why not just invest in things that have those long-term gains in perpetuity?
Yeah.
Yeah, forever. Like for the next 60 years, this thing's going to be making me money.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's not going to
Yeah.
die.
Right. I think part of that too, like, so for me, when I'm looking at the landscape of real estate and the situations I put myself in, and I feel like I'm always taking the next correct step in the right direction. Okay. I feel like I've done that pretty well. But coming back and kind of focusing on my home a little bit and saying what areas of like the other 16 hours of my day,
Yeah.
like what could I improve? Because I feel like that if you have clarity at home and it feels like let's call it a safe place. My wife's a therapist, so but a safe place. She's a psychologist actually, so give her a little more credit.
Go on, dude. That's great.
Then it's like, dude, do you have another team? But like, I think this myself. I probably have another team at home that would help push me so much further in whatever direction I'm trying to go in. Because for so long I've kind of just kept the wife in the dark about real estate, just because I don't want to bring that home and I want to have a different experience when I'm home. But I'm starting to think that it's kind of exciting to have a team built out when you come home. And if they're just as jazzed to like go do something that you're inspired about, how do you win them over to that degree so that now, hey, I'm going to spend a few extra credit hours, like when you do extra credit homework. Hey, let's look up some deals, look up some businesses, some opportunities in the market. Could we try something? And I feel like I'm working on fostering that. And part of the delegating thing where I was going on the tangent about hiring a virtual assistant, looks like I dropped that nugget to Kristen. I'm like, well, what if we hired a VA to manage the house cleaner that empties our litter robot? And our freaking vacuum too.
Yeah.
And then that got her thinking. I'm like, well, if we bought a property and we wanted to manage it, we could self-manage it. We just get the VA to get a list of contractors, plumbers, cleaners, other people
to run it, dude. Yeah.
And you're one point of contact's that VA and they reach out to everybody else. So the gear started turning. And I think in a way of kind of making my house more of like a place, like a sanctuary in a way, that it's going to reward me, my wife, and people around me with more opportunities because I'm going to be lit up and ready to go tackle that next big project or find a new opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, dude, I mean, all ultra successful people have, what do they call it? Chief of staff.
Yeah.
And they run their whole home life, like everything. You're not going to the DMV. Like, are you kidding me? Dude, I've been thinking about, like, to just really hit this point home with one example is I'm thinking about selling both my vehicles, my Tesla and my Tacoma, because I have to go to somebody else has to go to the DMV, but I have to like tell them to, and then they have to get a safety check, and then I got to make sure insurance and like all this stuff that I never even want to think about. And so I'm just like, well, what if I sold that? I've probably got the Tesla's probably worth 40 and the Tacoma's probably worth 20, 25. So it's like, okay, let's just say there's 60K cash after I sell them both. I could just take that 60K. I could buy a cash flowing property, make $500 to $800 a month on that cash flow, and that'll cover my lease. And then I never have to touch it, and that thing's appreciating in value, and I get tax write-off, and the tenant's paying down my mortgage. What am I doing? What am I doing here? I'm making some bad decisions by just owning my cars outright.
Makes a lot of sense. And are you paying on them still, or are they paid off?
Paid off, yeah. So I own it.
You're complaining about just the normal things to keep your car legal.
No,
I get it. It's a massive inconvenience. And, I think states like Hawaii is probably like Missouri. They have personal property tax on your vehicles. Registrations only go out for 2 years. When I was living in Arizona, I mean, dude, your license expired after 50 years. Your driver's license. You don't have to go renew it like that often. And then they give you 5-year tags on your cars, like things like
Yeah.
that. So it seemed more convenient to own a vehicle, but here in Missouri, it's like it's inconvenient in a way. And
Right.
I've looked this up. I don't know if you're going down this path thinking wise. Hawaii is a little bit smaller, but I was thinking, how do you get around? And if you look at like an Uber cost, let's say I was spending $45 a day on Uber, 25
Right.
days a month, that's $1,500.
Yeah.
Right. And that's
Yeah.
like, that's 2 car payments, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not driving that much, like my wife works from home
Mm-hmm.
and I go to my office every day, but like you kind of think about areas where you could just cut back, save a little bit, and it could maybe be more convenient.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. Well, I've been thinking about just getting rid of all my shit, my Tacoma and my Tesla, and just getting a Cybertruck, because I do like having a truck,
Okay.
but I like having an electric vehicle because I'm not trying to go to the gas station. That's
Yep.
such a waste of time.
It is.
So I kind of want both. And I just like having electric vehicles in general. That's the kind of things I like to support. I'm just like, bro, time, man. But so they've got these chief of staffs that just manage everything for them. And it allows them to do everything so much better.
Yeah. I thought about whenever I first started delegating, I was more or less giving myself breathing room just to relax. And so like when they talk about buying your time back, I felt like I wasn't being productive with the extra time I had. I was like, oh, finally I could just like chill. And I've done enough of that where I'm stir crazy, you know?
Huh.
A little cabin fever. Like I've been just locked in the house for too long.
Yeah.
And so now I'm ready to redeploy my extra time aggressively.
Nice. Well, I think that's good. I think that where skill acquisition comes into place, I've noticed the first 5 to 7 years, it was really about buy back my time, Dan Martell style. Just, I don't want to do this anymore. Find someone to do it. It's lower value work.
Yeah.
And now it's, well, how do I find people that have skills I don't possess?
Yeah.
For example, we just launched a pretty long like flagship video for our new software company's YouTube channel. And I sent the video to one of my partners, Michael, to review because he went to school for editing and all that stuff. And dude, he had caught probably like 70 mistakes, maybe 30 in the script and the title and the captions and the thumbnail, all this stuff. And dude, it was things that I would have never seen. Yeah. For example, we had how to be a dominant listing agent, and he said, no, that should be the word dominant, not dominant. I was like, oh, dude, I would have never caught that in my 50 years. I could have reviewed this. I would have never noticed. Yeah. I still don't even know the difference. And it's just, that's a skill I don't possess, is grammar and punctuation.
Sure.
But what other skills don't I possess? Yeah.
That's that Midwest education, bro.
Yeah. Dude, knowledge with an N, bro. Let's go.
Yeah, what other skills, right? And
so there's skills we don't even know about.
And that's kind of spot on, man. You know, with like my brokerage and all that stuff, it's like if I'm not, I'm on the Dan Martell kick for sure. Like he's put in a way where it makes sense, it clicks, where you don't spend money to grow, you spend money to buy your time back. And my thing is like, well, who's going to break into new markets? Who's going to have that next idea? And so there has to be a growth element to it. Yeah. Like, so you may have to spend money to grow. Like, I think that's just like, how did you start? Right. So maybe I got to reread his book and kind of see what his take is on that. But I think it's just as important to be looking for the next thing or the next opportunity and try to get ahead of it. And then that could be expanding into different areas. Maybe, you find this vertical, which mine's a real estate brokerage, try to maximize it at all levels, buy back my time from that, let it do its thing. And then now, okay, I go check on that next thing. I guess that's kind of the little crossroads that I find myself in when I'm following this, the buy back my time principle. It's like, okay, well, what am I going to do? Well, maybe, just a random thought, if it's to cause you to hesitate. Because it's so easy to part ways with your money to just like try to put up problems in your business. And I think maybe he's trying to express, hey, don't just buy money or don't just buy things. Like, don't just spend money to grow. Like, get your time back first. Do that. And then so now you just kind of take a pause, because I just reflected back on the last 4.5, 5 years, and I'm like, I would just spend money on anything in hopes it worked.
Yeah.
And not that I really needed it, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe I kind of talked that through.
I mean, I think there's a million angles, but it comes back down to we can do anything. Which one's going to move the needle the most? And that's just strategy.
Right.
Yeah, I think Alex is kind of on this kick right now, just constraints of business. And every business has one constraint, that one thing that's bottlenecking the whole system from growing to the next thing. And then you alleviate that constraint, and then another one will appear. And I fully agree with that for all established businesses. I look at my software company CMA every day, and it's not quite the case because we're so new that we basically, it's just like we need to do a million things to get it to grow. We need to have the sales team. We need to have better scripts. We need to have better product. We need to have better referral systems. And so it's hard to say there's just one thing there, but that's because it's brand new. But for any established company like ours, I think about if we doubled our lead flow to all the agents, we would not double the business. Probably not even close. Maybe we'd add 10, 20%. But if we double our agent count, we would double the business. If we improved our training drastically, we might add 20, 30% to the business. So there's a million little things to do.
It's true. But what's the 80%? Or what's the 20%?
Exactly.
Like the 80 that you're wasting, the 20% that does it. I think you kind of nailed it there with that. And I almost got roped into another lead referral company.
Oh, here we go. Let's go. What is it?
Fucking close. It's a place called House Jet. I think that's what it's called.
I've heard of it.
Ad got me, said, hey, we're giving out referrals for free, basically.
Nice.
Good, hey, what's up? I run a brokerage. Let's roll. Get on a call with them. Great sales pitch. I'm going to send you the stuff that I found. I study them in a way. Mm-hmm. And so basically I found out that, I don't need to be spending my money on something new. Because there was time in between whenever he was getting me on the pitch, and I was at the point where I was about to say yes. I paused and I said, let me call someone else. So I called up my business partner, Ryan. He's like, oh, it's probably bullshit. I'm like, okay, whatever. But dude, I was so close to saying yes to this. Yeah. Right. And I backed off of it. But HouseJet, dude, they almost wrote me in.
How much was it?
They wanted $5,000. Nice. And they wanted the guy was going to cut me a deal, and $5,000 one time. Mm-hmm. And then you go ahead and you pay a 10% referral fee instead of their standard 20%, around that price. Whatever. It varies. Your down payment dictates the ongoing percentage commission you pay to them as a referral.
That's kind of cool. Makes sense.
I went on Reddit and...
Oh, yeah. Just blowing it up, huh?
Dude, red flags. Red flags,
yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, you look at that, right? But they ran some good ads. It pulled me in. It got me to the point of wanting to say yes. And I think I just allowed myself a little bit of time. That's probably the experience side of being on it, of being pitched. And, I'm like, okay, I don't need that. Right.
Right. Do you know who the sales rep was?
The sales rep was
I think his name was Evan. I mean, I don't need his name, but was he good?
Evan? Yeah, dude, he did great. I mean, there was even a constraint whenever I signed up. I went on the website. I signed up for the Calendly call. They didn't have any instructions as to how the call is going to be conducted. I assumed it'd be a video meeting just like this. Mm-hmm. And the guy calls me from a random number or a random area. Mm-hmm. I didn't answer it because I just get phone calls all day. I don't like to answer those calls.
Why would you?
And then I hit him up and I'm like, yo, where's the video link at? Mm-hmm. And then they have reoccurring calendar appointments every 15 minutes. So I just went back on the website, logged another one. Yeah. And then he's like, all he said was no video, just phone. That's all he said to me. Hey, sorry about that, David. It was very much just and so when I got on the phone, he was nice, ran through everything. Everything was very scripted. And then he brought on at the very end when he was about to pitch me, he's like, hold on one second. I think you guys might need a different package. Let me bring on someone. Give me a second. Hold for 90 seconds. He brings on the closer, his manager.
Oh, let's go, dude.
Yeah, dude. He's saying all the things like, oh man, yeah, a brokerage of your size, you could be doing X, Y, and Z. I'm actually in Kansas City all the time. Maybe we grab a beer. The point that like kind of ultimately told me like stay away was on the phone. We kind of broed out for a second. I'm just being nice. He says, well, man, let me text you my number. If you need anything, hit me up. I'll shoot you over right now. And maybe when I'm up in Kansas City, we'll grab a beer. That's what he told me. And so I said, okay, sounds good. I got to take a call, call up my business partner. I'll get back to you. The guy never texted me personally. He said he would. He
Oh,
didn't. Uh-huh.
dude, that's it, bro.
I'm like, dude,
Damn.
I'm like, I already don't believe you now. Like, whatever you're
Yeah,
telling me over the phone, I don't believe it. Zero follow through on that. He should have texted me
it's
right there on the
out.
spot.
Yeah. While you're on the phone, just send the text. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but no, it's interesting. So I'm trying to remain a student of those. I don't remember how I necessarily got on this topic, but seeing those come through, my lens now is how far down the funnel can I get and how much can I document it.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I'm at with it.
Makes sense, dude. Makes sense.
Yep.
What do you think? Any other topics?
I think we're
Call
good.
it
I think that
there.
was a good pod.
It's not bad, huh?
Yeah.